When you're ready.
All right, thank you, Representative John Ray Clemens, District 55, Chairman of the Tennessee House Democratic Caucus. I just want to welcome you all today to this. As you know, this is an important day. This is the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which protected the constitutional rights of women and their reproductive health care rights, and was the law of the land for 50 years, or just short of 50 years in the state of Tennessee. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in this state, women and families, suffering from the most restrictive forced birth bill in the entire country. The law that exists today in the state of Tennessee is not only harmful to women, but it's harmful and adversely impacts every Tennessee family. So with that, again, thank you all for being here today, and I'm going to hand it over to my good friend, Chairwoman Senator London Lamar.
Thank you, Chair Clemens. Senator London Lamar, Chair of the Senate Democratic Caucus. What should have been the 50th anniversary celebrating national abortion rights and all the progress we have made now serves as a gloomy moment because we are reminded that for the first time in history, rights have been taken away from us. For the first time in history, in our state of Tennessee, women can face death and our physicians can't do anything about it. In this moment, we Democrats want to reiterate our commitment to the fight for control of our own bodies and the fight to decide if our life matters. With a gridlock Congress and a MAGA Supreme Court, abortion rights will be decided by state legislatures, making Democrats like ourselves who are standing up here the most important elected officials in the right for reproductive rights. In Tennessee, the controlling party has already eliminated our right to choose. Their laws are so extreme and egregious that there are no exceptions for rape, incest, human trafficking, or even to save the life of a mother. We have the strictest abortion ban in the country. Under Republican control, Tennessee is a forced birth state. They are forcing women to give birth in a state where we are not already doing a good job of taking care of the kids we have here now. Our state is not safe for children anymore. We have one of the highest maternal mortality and infant mortality rates in this country, and we have slow-walked additional resources for mothers and babies. Our own state data, the State of Children and Youth, shows we have the worst foster care system in the country. Where will these babies go if the mothers can't take care of them? Our own data shows that gun violence, lack of health care, underfunded schools, pollution, and even the government services that we are supposed to protect children, like DCS, are failing children and families at every turn. We are leading the nation at failing to protect mothers, children, and families. This fight is also very personal to me. I know firsthand the consequences of a misguided pro-life philosophy. I have witnessed a family member die because they did not utilize safe abortion access. She nor the baby lived. That's 2 lives gone. I have been very public about my own consequences of losing my baby because of the negative circumstances of pregnancy. Preeclampsia has taken the lives of many women and children because all of us are not able to have a safe and healthy pregnancy process. For me, the fight to reinstate abortion access is about allowing women to choose their own life. I don't know any woman who accesses abortions to get rid of children. Not one. The decision to have an abortion is about a health care decision because the facts are clear. It's not always safe to have a baby. What would be the 50th anniversary of Roe is a reminder that Tennessee Democrats like ourselves are working to build a future where all Tennesseans have access to safe and legal reproductive care. If this state wants to discourage women from accessing abortion services, do a better job at giving women the tools and resources to have a healthy pregnancy and raise children free of harm and poverty. This session, Democrats would not only be fighting for abortion access, but all the kitchen table issues that allow all Tennesseans to take care of themselves and their families. I'm asking the Republican Party to join us in this fight and put aside misguided partisan politics and do the right thing for women and children. I am expecting their support on the legislation we will be putting forth this session.
The consequences of electing ideological partisans in our state will be felt for generations to come. Tennesseans have made it very clear through polls over and over again that they support women's reproductive rights. And yet the small majority who control our state have prevented us and taken away our rights for the very first time. So I think most Tennesseans are for freedom. We had 38% voter turnout this time. If you want to change this, don't only just get out and vote, but make sure other people get out and vote, because that's the only way that we're going to change this.
Gloria Johnson, House District 90. I think we always need to talk about that. What Tennessee has done is Tennessee has said to women, you are not equal. You do not have autonomy over your own bodies. And that's saying, for the first time in 50 years, that women are not equal. I don't think Tennessee women are going to stand for that. Unfortunately, many Tennessee women, we have seen from the survey, aren't even aware of this. And this was intentional. I think we need to talk about how our colleagues across the aisle put on the website that there was an exception for life of the mother. And there's not. It was a lie. I think we should talk about on the House floor, the bill sponsor said there was an exception. That was a lie. We had national publications getting their information from the website saying we had an exception. That was a lie. We're talking about people who were disingenuous in order to pass bill. They even lied to their own members. And so we need to make sure that we hold them accountable, that women in Tennessee have the same rights as everyone else. This is utterly ridiculous. Economic Policy Institute has a study that says this is going to be economically a downturn for Tennessee. We see women will come out of the workforce when they don't have that autonomy over their own bodies. They really become subjects of the workforce. Low wages, not having that bodily autonomy is going to have a negative impact. Not to mention, the fact that it's wrong is enough, but it's also economically a bad decision. And Senator Lamar talked about maternal mortality, but we are a state that also didn't expand Medicaid. So many women don't have access to a doctor regularly before they get pregnant to make sure that they're healthy. And this is so detrimental to women and forcing 10-year-old girls to carry a pregnancy from incest. That's what this state is doing. It's sickening, it's disgusting, and it's complete and total control, and it's putting women and young girls at danger, in addition to families altogether. All the policies of the state have led to us having the worst foster care, not having access to affordable health care for so many because we didn't expand Medicaid, not getting hoarding TANF funds, and not getting out to families who need them. We need to correct those policies, and we need to make sure everybody has access to health care, and that we begin treating women equally in Tennessee, because right now, that's not the case.
I definitely echo my colleagues, our passion. We care about this. This is personal to a lot of us standing up here. We know what it's like to have abortions. Let's be real about that. And we know the ramifications of the after effects as well. This is a bad choice that our state is engaging in to force women to have babies. I believe that we need to make sure that healthcare access is for everyone, because we know that abortion is a healthcare decision, and we need to expand Medicaid. We also need to create the conditions in our state. Let's do the real people's business and create the conditions possible to make sure that every woman in this state wants to have a baby and has the choices available to them and options available to them, whereas we have health care, paid family leave, gender equity in the workplace, things like that create the conditions possible for women to be supported in this state. So let's get down to the real people's business. This is cruel, it's authoritarian to tell women what to do with their bodies from people who have never birthed a baby. And let's, again, do the people's business. And I stand here to fight at the ready to make sure we do that.
You don't want to speak?
Yes.
Want to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
State Representative Yusuf Hakeem from Chattanooga. In my view, the trigger law, really the reality of it is an opportunity for persons who don't go through pregnancy to say to women that you don't have control over your bodies. And in my view, it's a threat to both women and children. This bill, as it is, with no exceptions, we have to find a way to work with Republicans on this so that, yes, exceptions do matter. We have in the city of Chattanooga, it's reported in the Wall Street Journal and the Chattanooga Times Free Press, a lady whose child was not viable. The doctor could not treat her because of the potential of going to jail. And as a result, the lady had to be transported to North Carolina 6 hours in an ambulance. Could have died. There was negative impact on her because of traveling that far. And then what we have to remember also that these laws, when I say it impacts women, we talk about the life and health, children, the same thing. Women's lives are as important as the lives they carry within themselves. And when we talk about pro-life, we need to be talking about women also. And deal with the children who are having children in situations that they did not bring about themselves, that would rape or incest. It's unconscionable that we would consider children having to carry a child in that environment. What is it going to do to her mental health? What's it going to do to the mental health of that child that is born into an environment that is not conducive to their well-being? So I can contend that we need to do all this within our power to demonstrate to the citizens of the state of Tennessee, informing them that no exceptions are there and the damage that can be done by the law as it stands. Thank you.
Morning, State Rep Hardaway, G.A. Hardaway, and I kind of feel like I'm in church now. Everything that needed to have been said has been said, because everybody hadn't had a chance to say it. Rep Hakeem really wrapped it up. This borders on the realm of criminal acts against women and children. I think to have a law that mandates that you revisit crimes, sexual crimes that result in pregnancies, that you revisit that same type of violence, constitutional violence upon women. So it says, Hakeem said, unconscionable. And the fact that men are the majority of the decision makers is a real irony. So I'm going to urge all women who hear this, you need to talk to your husbands, talk to your brothers, your sons, your cousins, everyone who has the, either is qualified to vote or has some amount of influence with this legislature, you need to ask them to stand up and fight for your lives.
Well, thank you. And I also want to recognize we're joined today by Representative Ronnie Glenn of Clarksville, who has joined us and our colleagues in being a real leader on this issue and a true advocate for women and families. And I'm proud to serve with Representative Glenn as well as everyone up here. We are working on this issue. And I think one point really requires repeating here is right now, women and families across the state of Tennessee are suffering from the most restrictive forced birth law in the country. And as the point was made, most Tennesseans do not realize that. We need to fully educate and get people across the state of Tennessee to understand what has been done to them, not for them, by a small vocal minority who pushed through a law with misrepresentations, outright misstatements on the House floor and in publications. That was by design. So I encourage you, please educate your friends, your family, to let them know what the law is, and that will give you an idea of how much work we need to do to correct this for the benefit of every Tennessee family and community from one end of the state to the other. And with that, we will take questions. If anybody has them.
Senator Lamar, you touched very briefly there at the very end. You said legislation y'all were sponsoring. I know Representative Hakeem has already put one up. Is there any other legislation that y'all plan on sponsoring?
We are going to have a comprehensive piece of legislation that fully reflects our values as a Democratic caucus on both sides. And that legislation is currently in the works, and I will tell you that it is being well crafted with much thought, and it will fully reflect our values and benefit every Tennessee family. And we are going to be united in that front as a Democratic caucus, and I'll let Senator Lamar speak to it to the extent, but that bill will be filed in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yes, we will be pushing legislation as two joint caucuses to reinstate abortion access in this state. In addition to pushing joint caucus bills to reinstate abortion, each of us are also, again, like I said, are going to be pushing issues that bring to the forefront kitchen table issues that allow families to choose life on their own. What that means is accountability for DCS. What that means is more legislation to protect the lives of mothers through maternal health, doula care. What that means is legislation to help eradicate poverty. All of these issues that help families be able to take care of their children free of harm and poverty is what Democrats are standing for. So what we are standing as a joint caucus is being the conscience of the legislature, making sure we are putting forth issues that actually help Tennesseans and not harm them. So look forward to not only the two bills that we will be reinstating as a joint, but look at all our members and how we're attacking all the issues that are create a better Tennessee for all people.
Speaker Sexton has said that he's, that they're going to bring legislation to at least deal with some of these issues here. Do you think that if you don't get traction on your own legislation, is that something that you all might wind up supporting?
We are a state that wants to make sure we protect all families. And because we're in a minority, it has always been on us to have to work across the aisle. We have never been afraid of that. If the majority party is going to be responsible enough and push legislation to bring more protections for women and families, we are open to having those discussions and talking with them and working with them. But right now, we have not seen any of that legislation or know if that's coming for sure. So until we actually see legislation that is going to make sure we can put in protection for physicians, and protections for women's lives, put in protections and exemptions for rape and incest, we are just going to do the responsible thing up front and do it ourselves until the Republican Party steps up and actually presents legislation that will do that.
Can you share?
Andy, I just want to follow up on that. I think what the people of Tennessee need and deserve are leaders in this legislature working together. I think that's what everybody wants, and we are willing to work together for the benefit of Tennessee families. Our goal is to save lives, protect our medical community, who right now are being presumed guilty until proven innocent. And so we will be working on this issue throughout this legislative session, promoting our own well-crafted and thoughtful legislation to those ends, and anyone else who wants to meet us on those aims will certainly find a receptive audience, because we believe as a caucus in working together to improve the life of every Tennessee family.
Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit more detail on the bill that you're working on? Like, for example, will it simply repeal the heartbeat ban or the trigger ban that was set in motion by the repeal of Roe v. Wade? Like, to what extent are you defining full abortion access?
Yeah, we're going to release that bill. We're still working on it. It would be premature to discuss the exact details of that, but what I can tell you is it is going to reflect our values, and it will correct a lot of the inequalities, inequities, and injustices of the current law of the state of Tennessee, which is the most restrictive and forced birth law in the country. And so we will discuss that, and we'll happily lay out every provision of that legislation in detail when we file it. At this time, it'd be premature to do so.
Any more questions? All right, we're going to close out this press conference. Thank you to everybody who came.